we already had the theme of butterfly and cocoon come up at least twice. Courtney, yours was one of them. It came up for Allie as well. So whenever that happens, I pay attention. And then for me, I think because it snowed this weekend, which I'm like, need to be barefoot outside to be okay kind of person. Um, I really felt the cocoon. I really felt the quarantine of like, oh my God, we're in the house all weekend just together. Like it was not fun to go outside. I did go outside, but so that's what inspired going into the cocoon is like, okay, what's up with the cocoon? Because it really makes sense that we've all been like forced into our homes, not going anywhere. So from a larger scale, Big Mama through like society has been like, stay home, right? Get in your cocoon. And part of what we've been talking about a lot is like what's coming up in that, right? Like what kind of lessons am I learning? All of that. But it's pretty intense. Like there's a lot of emotions with it. There's a lot of ups and downs. So I looked up, not very much, but I looked up, cocoons, like what happens in a cocoon. And essentially a caterpillar, when it goes into a cocoon, it digests itself. The digestive juices that it uses to eat food, it then uses on itself, and it breaks down its own body and then regenerates right into a new body. So one time we were talking about how there's just like this beingness in the cocoon, and it's like true and it's not true. It looks really still from the outside, but there's actually a whole lot going on the inside. And it's also like a death rebirth, right? So there's like putrefaction and yuck going on in there. And something else that was true was that there's often a level of like camouflage and safety, right? So the cocoon, they try to like blend it in with the leaves around and stuff like that, which makes sense. It's quite vulnerable as well to be in that cocoon. So I think that this is a really fun parallel for us today to look at of like, if you're willing to go with me and believe that in some metaphoric way, we're in a cocoon right now, like, let's really go into that and be like, what is happening to me while I'm like smushed inside? In fact, that came up in my art too. Remember when I did the one of the lady and the icicles and somebody was like, it looks like you're in a cocoon. And I was like, oh my God, it makes so much sense because I felt like I couldn't move. So when I just did that, I remembered like, if I'm like being pressure cooked right now inside my cocoon, what's going on? And two really good questions to ask yourself is what is dying? What is like being, like sloughed off? And what is regenerating? I'm imagining a drawing of the cocoon. I'm probably going to start with the cocoon itself and give myself the confines of it. I even imagine I might use like oil pastel first. So it's like this really thick boundary of like, here's your cocoon. You can't get out of it. And then I have to work within it and be like, okay, what's going on in there? Just get really curious. Like what is transforming? What thing, like what's the stuff leaking off and dying? And, part of the fun of art is you can really just come at it from like a purely metaphoric realm, and then we can always find meaning in it later, so you can just intuitively be like, this is my cocoon.